Yo, what's up, everyone? I'm JD, the Simple, and with me always is Earthworm, the Mighty.
I don't care if reporters follow me home, I'll simply blast them away.
This is the Anime Brothers podcast. We are
What's
here.
happening, everyone?
It's a great day. Basically, hope you all staying safe still out there and all that as well. Today's going to be a big day. We're going to be talking about basically what started it all for us.
We're going back to the beginning.
Yeah, back to the beginning. I guess it didn't start us, but it's near and dear to our heart, right?
I mean, let's be honest. Dragon Ball Z was the first anime that we were absolutely 110% obsessed with. It might not have been the first one that we ever stumbled across,
right.
But goddamn, man, that it took our lives over for 5 years, 6 years after that. It was nothing. Nearly as important as Dragon Ball Z.
We were the ones that were in school, just blasting blast and all that in high school and all that, doing the kamehamehas, and everyone's just like, what's wrong with those kids?
How many times did we get in trouble because they're like, no, you can't fight on the playground? And
Stop punching each other.
It's okay. No, trust me. We're fine. I promise.
Yeah. No, we're professionals. We've done this before.
We know what we're doing. All right, lady?
But, before we get into it, it's not been too long since our last recording, but anything you've caught up on? We might as well tell the people.
Sure, I did. I finished Fooly Cooly.
Okay, you did.
I think last episode I had 2 episodes left. So yeah, I cranked that one out. It was fucking sweet, dude. It's weird. It is weird. Do not show it to somebody who doesn't watch anime or is not familiar with the weird underbelly that anime has.
Okay.
It will turn them off. I won't lie to you. It'll turn off a newbie like that. Like I mentioned before, when I was a kid, it freaked me out watching things come out of this dude's head or whatever, just fucking horns and shit would turn into robots. And there was the flesh dragon that I mentioned. He actually looked pretty badass at the end of it. But
so you're saying some weird shit happens at the end?
It is absolutely fucking bonkers from episode 1 to episode 6. It is the weirdest fucking anime I think I've ever sat down and watched.
Oh.
Yeah,
enough.
but it's great. You want to talk about I think it was 2000. It was late 90s, early 2000s when it was made. And the animation, there's some points where you'd swear that it is CG, really, really good CGI. But it's
really?
not. It is all hand drawn.
Oh, that's impressive then.
Yeah, and I learned some cool little tidbits listening to an episode that Weebology did about Fooly Cooly. But there are actually 2 scenes in the show that are drawn like manga panels. And
really?
Yeah, and this part is the one I was talking about last episode where it's there's text upon text and you just can't read it all.
Yeah.
And most of it's just ridiculous shit anyway. But I learned today that those two scenes of maybe 10, 15 seconds each or whatever, they cost more than the rest of the show to produce because of how they hand drew all the manga panels.
That's probably why it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, this director or the creator or whatever, I'm not sure exactly how it's distributed with that shit, but he pretty much said I'm gonna do whatever I want in this fucking thing and you're all gonna suck my dick about it. He picked one of his favorite bands, and even in times where it's hey, maybe punk music's not appropriate right here, he's no, fucking throw on the punk track.
I do what I want.
Yeah, he constantly spat in the face of everybody who told him no, that's too weird, that's not gonna work. That almost fueled him more. And everybody on the set, they were we cannot do another manga panel like that. We can't do it. It was way too much work. Come the last episode, he must have looked at everybody and been hey, we're doing it again.
We're doing it again.
So definitely, especially someone who can appreciate weird artsy shit, it was really fucking cool. It wasn't trying to be anything that it wasn't. It's there's some symbolism and there's some shit in there that you could read into, but it's not shoved in your face. You can watch it and just enjoy the wild, crazy ride that is Fooly Cooly.
Is that the only thing you were watching, essentially?
No, I don't think I had yet. I finished Haikyuu Season 3. Haikyuu.
Oh, so you did start. Well, I'm glad
yes.
you watched it because I know you were waiting on me, but I finished it pretty quickly.
No,
so.
I blew through it in maybe 2 days, maybe 2 days.
I told you, once it's in the game, it's kind of hard to.
It was fucking absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. I don't want to give any crazy spoilers or nothing, but those 2 teams, watching them match up, especially as a guy who likes sports and likes the ins and outs of football and shit, being able to watch how these teams matched up completely different than the previous teams, and that Shiratazawa isn't necessarily better than like Oba Josei or whatever, but they're just fucking powerful.
They're all individually good at what they do, but they don't
Yes.
technically work together, kind of like the other
It's like
team.
a brute strength thing. Like Ioba Josei was all about like finesse and technique and making sure you did everything correctly, and this fucking Shiratazawa is just like, no, we're just gonna shove the ball through your chest, Kamehameha
It doesn't
style.
matter how much heart you have. When it gets beaten into your face, you're gonna lose. That was
Yeah.
the mentality.
But holy shit, like I absolutely loved the way that the season ended. It was super intense. I think they did everything. They made it exactly as dramatic as it needed to be.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I loved it. I know you did too, JD, and I'm excited to start To the Top.
Yeah, I just started that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've only gotten 3 episodes in because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna finish at least My Hero Academia season 2 before I, finish Haikyuu season
Sure.
4. Yeah, try to give a little give and take. Problem is, I had one more episode before we did this podcast, so I'll finish it after. But I will be on to season 3 of My Hero, and then I'm gonna finish out Haikyuu. I don't know. Yeah, I want to talk about it all. I would like to have a whole episode kind of dedicated to it, to be honest. Either way.
Haikyuu? Absolutely.
Yes,
we
we're
could
gonna
talk
work
about
that
Haikyuu
out.
for hours. It's a crazy good show.
Yeah.
Speaking of My Hero, you're gonna kind of hate me because I didn't start My Hero. I started
know.
One Punch Man.
Okay. Yeah. Now at this point, I'm pretty mad at you. So
I know. I just
stop
okay.
watching. Stop watching.
I know. I just didn't want something I was gonna get like super wrapped up in. I had a couple hours, and it's just like, well, let's see if this is funny. At least the first like 2 or 3 episodes, there were some really fucking funny parts, especially for shonen schmucks like you and I.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I had planned on eventually watching it,
I
but
know.
we agreed upon My
I
Hero and
know.
Haikyuu, and you were breaking a contract.
I'm gonna bust through My Hero real soon. I just wanted to watch something a little goofy and didn't want to take something too seriously. And I'm not gonna lie, like everything that people have said to disparage My Hero has really turned me off from the show. A year ago
you
today,
just listen to people talking.
I try not to, and I try to form my own opinion, but then you hear it over and over, and it's like, oh fuck. But like a year ago today, I was all about it. I was hagging you out. I was like, yo, dude, we gotta watch My Hero, hurry up and finish Naruto. We gotta get this going. I need to watch it by the time I go to the next anime convention.
Yes.
Well, for obvious reasons. No anime conventions, so my timeline's been just
And
shattered.
so now you don't give a shit.
Yeah, I guess.
No, but I mean, seriously, I'm not gonna lie. No lie, you need to watch it. You gotta form your own opinions. That's how I go by it. I mean, if we went off of just hearsay, I mean, I don't think we'd be watching certain things. We'd be watching others.
You're absolutely right, and that's a bad habit that I'm sure listeners have figured out that I have. I have to do my due diligence and listen to everybody's opinion and form my own opinion before I start watching a show. And let me tell everyone out there listening, unhealthy coping mechanism. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Don't do that. Just talk about your problems and just watch the fucking show.
Yeah. But either way, I'm sure you'll be doing it soon. I mean, if I had to choose between My Hero and Naruto, I'd like you to watch a little more Naruto, but, anything at this point, so.
No, I feel you. I'm almost saving Naruto for when you make me forced recommend it because there's just something about it that is missing something. I don't know. It's just not giving me that, like, excited shonen adventure type deal.
Well, it's
because
you have too many things that you're jumping around in, and you want to like accomplish in your small sets of time. You're like, I want to watch this, I want to laugh, I want to have this.
Yeah,
and the problem
you're
is
not
it's
wrong.
commitment. So,
But Naruto, like, I only go back to it when I literally don't know what else to do. I'm sure it's not fair to Naruto. I'm sure it's more to do with me and, like, again, not having any nostalgia to go along with this Naruto. I saw maybe 4 or 5 episodes when I was a young wee lad, and that was about it. So,
it all come in time.
Sure. So Naruto, maybe a little less time. I think I'm going to try to bust out One Punch Man Season 1, and then I'm going to start My Hero Academia come hell or high water.
Come hell or high water.
I'm just going to fucking start it, because it's not that long, the first season, right? Didn't they start it with, like, what, 12 episodes to start off for
13 episodes, and
Yep.
yeah, I punched through the first season easily, and then the second episode, it finally
Second
starts.
season.
The second season they started delving a little bit more deeper into kind of like the villains and a little bit more of realism when it comes to being a hero and the ideologies of certain villains. So it's definitely takes more Like, it's not just about powers and, like, making it a little bit... It's kind of got some serious tones to it, so that's
There's
good.
some gray area in there, whether like what is right, what is wrong type shit.
Yeah, and I don't know, see, because I don't give myself spoilers, but I'm hoping it's building towards something like, Hunter x Hunter did. Probably won't get as deep, but
Well,
I'm hoping it's
we
going
can't
to be.
expect that.
No, but you never know. I mean, I just don't know what's to come, so... But, either way, other than that, the real reason we're here is this is our 10th episode, so this is kind of a big deal. We're hitting the double digits now.
Double digits!
Double digits, yes. So, and, we did a Hunter x Hunter kind of thing, breaking down, and we plan on going further into that, but we're like, let's go to our roots, like we said earlier, and let's delve into the thing that we love, even though it has some issues.
Definitely. Without a doubt. I mean, we all love Dragon Ball Z. If you watched it as a child, as a kid, if you have any sort of memory of it, there's always going to be a special place in your heart for this bad boy. Regardless of the plot holes, regardless of the ridiculous storyline changes, regardless of everything that you could say is wrong with Dragon Ball Z, we want to get this across before we start what some people might see as breaking it down in a bad way. We love Dragon Ball Z. We will always love Dragon Ball Z. And we have the utmost respect for what it did for our favorite genre of anime and anime in general, just not only giving other creators ideas, but expanding it to the West.
But
and
that
allowing
being
us
said,
to see everything.
We also understand that it is not flawless. Some people may think, there's still people out there that think this is the best anime ever written and made, and I must say we're here to, we're not here to be 100% with you guys here on
It
that.
is I will never say it is the best. It is definitely not the tightest. It's not the most well written. But before people jump down our throats saying, like, that brought you two together, you wouldn't be fucking friends without Dragon Ball Z. It's like, well, we understand that, and we give it the due respect that it deserves, but we're not going to go touting that it's a 10 out of 10 show, because that's just not what we believe.
I haven't given anything a 10 yet, all right? So
yeah, exactly. And I've only got my top 3, and I know there are flaws in those 3, but to a lesser degree than Dragon Ball Z. But anyway, I think we should start getting into it.
Yeah, so we're basically going to start it off, and we're going to talk about each arc in a way. Now, there's going to be some gray lines, like, there's the Android Saga, which is technically in the Cell Saga, blah, 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 stuff like that. We're going to try to keep it mushed together, but we'll try to separate it as well. But the first one, and where it all starts, is the Saiyan arc. And
yes.
Basically, I would say, right off the get-go, I'm just saying it now, it is pretty much almost the best arc there is.
I'd say it's my favorite arc.
Yes.
As far as all-encompassing everything, definitely my favorite. But before we get too deep into like the Saiyan arc, I gotta ask you, the first episode, because you've watched it relatively recently, like right within like the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, within 5 years. I'm gonna say I haven't watched it in a couple years for sure.
Sure. But like the first episode, how did you feel about it jumping right in? Because neither of us really remember Dragon Ball, so we can't tell you exactly where it left off. But how did you feel about it jumping in with maybe 3 minutes of, hi, how's everybody doing? And then boom, bam, there's an alien on Earth.
See, because I don't have much memory of the Dragon Ball, in a way, it's kind of like a cool start-off point, in my opinion. Like, oh, whoa, so I didn't kind of mind it. I did want to say that one of my only negatives about the whole Saiyan arc was what I call the Raditz problem.
Raditz problem? Explain.
Okay, yes. I even wrote next to when I say Raditz problem, explain.
Okay.
So, basically, in my opinion, now this is going a little bit further down the Saiyan arc, but we find out that there is Nappa and Vegeta, other Saiyans that are alive and are much, much, much more powerful than Raditz. And Raditz was such a big problem at like the first 3-4 episodes. I don't remember how long. It wasn't very long. It
didn't take long. Maybe 5 episodes. He was an issue.
And when you first see him, you're like, oh, this is a bad guy. Oh my God, this is interesting. Who is he? It's like, it is all cool. But once you get rid of those 4 or 5 episodes, find out about Vegeta, Nappa, and henceforth, and then you find out about these Cybermen that are all apparently stronger than Raditz, you start realizing the only reason Raditz was put in there was to pretty much just explain that there are more powerful people. He had no real reason to even be there. Why would they even keep him around if he's so weak that even Cybermen are stronger than him? Because in the way, you could see that Nappa was disposed of quickly when Vegeta no longer needed him. What purpose did they really need Raditz? Like, only just to explain there's someone more powerful than me. He was kind of useless.
You're not wholly wrong, but I do think that, and I might have even explained it, or explained it away or whatever. But I think they said that they used Raditz for missions to where they couldn't necessarily rely on a Cyberman because they're therefore they're more powerful, but they're not smart enough to carry out whatever needed to be done.
I thought it was just to say that they're brothers. That was the whole important part, him being brothers with Goku.
Yeah,
but in my opinion, they don't even, I don't know, they don't even fully delve into that even further about their brotherhood. It just, I don't know, it seemed weak.
From an outside look at the writing, you're right. I'm just kind of giving the in-universe explanation, the in defense of that decision. They used Raditz as like, you go here, the planets we don't want to deal with, it's not worth our time, you go take care of those.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like they give Naruto some shit later on for explaining things last minute in like a short 5-minute thing. Like, oh well, since they talked about it, it's all makes sense. Well, not really, and that's where
you're not wrong.
That's my only gripe, but yeah, as soon as, like you said at the beginning, I liked the idea of Raditz, but after the 4 or 5 episodes, you realized that just was whack to me. So
true. The reason I brought up the beginning though is because, and not that like any of us have experienced this, but I think for someone who might be a little critical of anime, or because. What I'm trying to get across is we've all seen this as a kid. We all remember Dragon Ball Z, so we all have some sort of memory of it. But to find someone who's never seen it, but perhaps is an anime fan, to show them the beginning, I think they might find the pacing way too fast, considering you started with just Dragon Ball Z and not any preface of Dragon Ball besides maybe a quick summary.
Oh yeah, it's like a definite Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood kind of vibe. They just jump you in.
Yeah, they really just like get right into it, which for people who are looking for that or old Dragon Ball Z fans, it's nice because the biggest problem that everybody has, including you and I with Dragon Ball Z, is the let's show this fight that we showed last fucking episode for 20 minutes of this episode. So It was nice to have quicker pacing rather than that slow-ass fucking there's nothing going on that we haven't seen.
Yeah. But I got some positives to say about the Saiyan Saga for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me run them by you right now. Number 1, Piccolo's growth.
Yep, that's the first one I thought of when you mentioned that.
I was going to say, the whole thing with Gohan, basically nurturing him, training him, and all that, and even though he tried to act like he was all big and bad, he actually started caring for this little boy. That was one of my positives for sure.
For sure.
Another one I would say is that the story flows pretty damn well from Dragon Ball into Dragon Ball Z. As we have always discussed, Akira did have a pretty good idea of what he was going to do continuing on.
It seems like he had this master plan from the beginning. And again, even though there are plot holes, Akira Toriyama could be considered by many to be an absolute genius. He's come up with a bunch of crazy cool shit, and especially if this was like his grand master plan of this boy's going to crash to Earth, he's going to go through his entire Shonen Earth adventure as a young boy, and then his quote-unquote past is going to come back to him. That's fucking phenomenal. I got to give it up to that. That is amazing.
That's some deep shit. Another thing is at the time they made power scaling or involved powers in the whole scanner thing, and at the beginning it was actually a pretty intriguing idea, showing that even though like Goku and Piccolo were a lot weaker than Raditz, they were able to beat him just because of certain powers were able to power up in that moment. You just can't trust your scanner.
Well, that's piercing damage right there too, you know.
You can explain your piercing damage. You love it so much.
I'm just saying, like there are maybe 2-3 attacks in fucking Dragon Ball Z where you get hit with an energy blast and it doesn't just push you back. Now, I'm sure you could explain that away with like power scaling, and I've always thought of it as like you coat your body in fucking aura, kind of like there's a Hunter x Hunter term for that in that universe, but. With Piccolo's special beam cannon, that shit goes through you, dog. I don't know what to tell you.
No matter
that shit
what,
goes through
pretty
you.
much.
Yeah.
There's been a couple times that they've been able to knock it away, but that's like after they power up their hand, like you said, with aura to deflect it.
Yeah, or they're just so overpowered that there's no chance. But you're right. The way that they took down Raditz was creative. It showed that Goku was willing to self-sacrifice. It showed that both Goku and Piccolo were willing to look past their grudge at each other for the greater good.
And let's not just say, like you said, in a way, Goku dying right in like the first 4 episodes is amazing. Like that's actually a what? Like,
Yeah. Now, taking away the fact that the Dragon Ball, everybody knew that he could just be brought back with the Dragon Balls. But yeah, the main character of, almost 200 episodes of Dragon Ball, you hop right in, and then all of a sudden there's a threat that he just could not beat. He could not will to beat. That's pretty cool.
yeah. And then my last thing for the Saiyan Saga that I would say is a definite positive, and everyone knows it's iconic, the Goku versus Vegeta fight. With
It's
the
amazing.
Kaioken. Yes, that is one of my favorite ones to this day. I can still remember the vivid, like, big, huge fucking Kaioken punch that he delves to Vegeta that, like, hurt him so bad he had to sit there for a long time doing the Peter Griffin. Ah!
Yep.
I may have just peeked my mic, but I don't care.
No worries, dude.
He's just so mad about it. Just the fact that a lower Saiyan is beating the shit out of him. And I don't know. I think about that moment every time. So
shit, what the hell was I going to say? That fight was actually my first memory of Dragon Ball Z at one of my very first childhood houses.
When they're both standing and ready to fight with their stances and shit?
Not necessarily that scene, but more so when Vegeta turned into Great Ape Vegeta. I do remember that's my first memory, is Great Ape Vegeta holding Goku and pretty much kicking the absolute piss out of him.
Yeah, once that happened, and that's another thing right there. Once again, Goku technically didn't win that fight.
No, Krillin won that fight.
And
or was it Yajirobe?
Yajirobe cut the tail, man.
That's right. I always think that Krillin ended up doing it, but the Vegeta jumped out of the way of the Destructo Disc, and then
Because he
Yajirobe.
got the sense of hearing, bud.
But then apparently couldn't hear Yajirobe's fucking clunky footsteps coming in. Anyway. One of my biggest gripes about that is I don't remember if it was shown in Dragon Ball at all, but the ability to create your own moon with an energy blast. That's a little wonky. Not the worst thing. It's a small nitpick, but it really opened up the, I can become a great ape whenever I want.
And what about when Piccolo once again blew away the moon and somehow no seas go rising? Nothing fucking happens when you blow up the moon.
I'm not a scientist, but I will tell everybody listening right now, if the moon blows up, we are all going to die. I believe our Earth is going to spin out of its orbit, and it's going to crash into the sun or something, but nothing good is going to happen. If the moon goes, we're all gone too. So Piccolo, and I think it was the guy from Assassination Classroom or something, y'all motherfuckers really got to think about what you're doing before you start blowing up fucking moons and shit, okay?
But it's an anime, so, fuck logic.
You're not wrong. But that's one of the many little wonky things that come in with Dragon Ball Z, where it's this makes sense in the universe. And then you look at them and go, why? And they go, a different universe, man. It makes sense. Trust me.
Yeah. But all in all, I mean, it's still, we give these little gripes. It's a great arc, and it's actually one of my favorites. And now the only way you can nitpick it is if you're making fun of the animation because it's older. But everything was flawless story-wise. Not flawless, but it was pretty much perfect story-wise and everything else, and making it, where the hero doesn't truly just kick everyone's ass like, everyone expects.
Yeah, he did. That is the first time we got to see Goku the Savior. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. The scenes, there are many of them where Goku, essentially the Deus Ex Machina, he comes down from the sky, and it's hi, I'm here to save everybody. He beats the absolute shit out of Nappa, which is a common theme. He finds the strong but ultimately weaker guy than the strongest guy, beats the absolute piss out of him, and it's great. Everybody loves it, especially after you've just watched Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu, fucking Piccolo. You just watched all them get absolutely slaughtered.
They all die.
And from an objective point of view, where you're not looking at it as somebody who's known Dragon Ball for 10 years and knows that everybody dies and comes back to life, that can be an impactful moment, especially watching Piccolo jump in front of Gohan. That's the first time you've ever seen Piccolo do anything close to self-sacrifice.
And he's crying for Gohan, says you're the only friend I've ever had. It's all right, you have your moments.
Yes, Dragon Ball Z is a tale of two character developments. In the first half, it's Piccolo. In the second half, it's Vegeta.
Yep. All by Christopher
nobody
Sabat.
Else developed. Yep. Only Christopher Sabat characters, and nobody else really has any hardcore development. But they do it enough for everyone.
All right. So, I don't know if you want to do it. I told you we could kind of do it. Do you want to give a grade?
Before we end it,
okay.
Biggest gripe, and this is where we realized that filler was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Snake Way.
Snake Way! I forgot to
Way
bring that up. Thank you for bringing that
god-awful.
up.
I have to imagine that Snake Way probably took less than a chapter in the manga.
I know, I actually read it, not gonna lie, because I have old Shonen Jump things, and I remember I flipped through like 2 pages, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's how long Snake Way took?
Speaking of that, that really fucked me up, realizing that like the anime wasn't a shot-for-shot remake of the manga, or vice versa.
Yeah,
reading my first
came
manga
up with
when I was like
shit.
10. Yeah, it was like, well, wow, this Frieza fight's taking a lot. This didn't take nearly as long as it did last time, because I'm just flipping through reading it.
Yep.
But no, Snake Way was pretty fucking awful. The payoff was fine. Watching him get to King Kai's was cool. Watching him use the weighted, well, no, it was just the gravity and shit.
With bubbles and all that, yeah.
Yep, try to catch bubbles, all that shit. That was neat, quirky little training. I'll give it, that's a Toriyama thing, He always has a character that doesn't take anything too terribly seriously. They're always kind of a joke, but in a good way, and that was King Kai.
Yeah, I do love King Kai.
No, he's amazing. At least early on. You realize that he's kind of a fucking piece of shit the longer the fucking series goes on.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of that, Snake Way, you'll learn later on that King Kai apparently knew instant transmission the entire time.
Yep.
And he just didn't
forget to tell?
Yeah, he's like, oh, by the way, Goku, I know all your friends are dying literally right now, but just keep running, bro.
I have no time, just run.
But yes, if you want to, we can wrap up the Saiyan Saga and give it a grand old score.
Would you like me to go first, or do you want to be... I know you're probably going to be a lot more critical with your ratings, so...
I might, but out of level 1 to times 10 Kaioken,
yes.
What is the Saiyan Saga for you?
Me, it's... I'm not going to lie, it's pretty much one of the best ones there, so I gave this one a solid 9 for me.
That's fair. I would also give it a 9, considering we aren't doing like 8.8s or whatever, but I think it deserves a 9.
Well, I was going to allow us to do 8.5s, like halves, like you want to do, but...
I do like halves, because there's a big difference between 2 8-rated animes, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. There's a big difference.
There's a big difference.
There's a fucking large difference.
But we're gonna give it a 9 for sure. It's really well done. So
yeah, there are some flaws, but it didn't get too terribly bogged down with filler. At least the filler that you did see, there was shit actually happening. It wasn't just a re-showing of previous scenes.
Yeah.
And like you said, the Goku Vegeta fight, I will say, is, having watched Dragon Ball Z relatively recently within the past 3 years, that is without a doubt the best fight in the show. I used to think it was Goku Buu. I was wrong.
Yeah, I know. Now we're moving on to I would say probably one of our least favorite, but it is the Namek arc.
Yeah,
Yay.
So I think we're going to end up kind of talking about the Namek arc with the Frieza arc, because I've always kind of seen them as the same thing. They're the same overarching story arc. I know the Ginyu Force and all that shit was separate.
But the Frieza arc has its own arc because filler.
Yeah, well, in
a way.
The Namekian arc wasn't the worst in filler, but that's when the picture, like the scenery filler, became famous. That's when they were like, well, let me show you the scene of this crazy river, and then we're going to have some wind sounds, and then we're going to show you this mountain.
Then we're going to pan it left.
And then we're going to pan left all the way across, and then a minute into the show, you finally get to see our characters.
You can go on YouTube and just watch every clip of filler on the Namek episode, and that
sounds terrible. I'd rather do it the opposite way.
It can make its
much
own
rather do it the
2 hour
opposite way.
Yeah.
So what was your least favorite part besides filler? We're gonna set filler aside. What was your least favorite part of the Namekian arc specifically before we got really into the Frieza part?
Any episode that had Bulma in it.
Yep. Bulma, shut the fuck up.
Oh my god. Like, as she got older, it's like she did mature, and I started actually liking her around, but god damn, this was like the worst time for her. I don't know what was going on, but she was a basket case.
She was absolutely awful. I don't know if it was just a writing choice or if they wanted that to be like, not her midlife crisis, obviously, but like her 1 year of just really kind of losing her fucking mind. Because she was not that bad in Dragon Ball, and she was not that bad after the Namekian saga.
Exactly.
Maybe it's something about being on an alien planet. I don't know, but holy fuck. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, Bulma.
Yeah, there's a lot of hated characters. Like, people like to put Sakura of Naruto, but that's a whole thing. Bulma alone in the Namek, arc almost, won me over. But I got to put that aside because she got a lot better. So
Yeah, I love Bulma as a character. She's sexy, she's funny, she's very human, as in like she's not a pure-hearted great person, but like I said, she's human. She has her ups, she has her downs.
she was able to take a Saiyan and pretty much hold him in the balls. So yeah, she did a
You
good
mean
job.
Badman?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a very impressive thing to be able to be a human and emotionally dominate a Saiyan, essentially.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. You got to give props where props are due. But if she would have been completely removed from the Mechian saga, I would have been fine with that.
Would have been better off.
Yeah, and I don't think every anime needs a crazy, annoying character in every single arc. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they add something, but other than just bitching, I don't think Bulma added anything. If anything, she hindered.
Yeah, 100%. So you were saying other things. Another thing I could think of, and you may think it's weird because this was the whole point of going to Namek, but I already thought that the Dragon Balls are starting to get a little bit too much, involved in everything. Like, I know it's called Dragon Ball, but like they're like, oh, there's another planet that has other Dragon Balls, and like this was just a further stepping stone into making it to where no matter what happens and who dies, we have Dragon Balls.
Now, I can't remember exactly why, but what was Krillin and fucking Gohan's actual reasoning for going to Namek to get the Dragon Balls?
It's because those Dragon Balls don't have the whole, like, once, like, someone dies once, you can't bring him back with the regular Dragon Balls again. You can only die once, if you remember. And I think, like, Yamcha or, like, Chaozu have already died, so they wouldn't have been able to been brought back.
Okay,
And,
see, I forgot that
Piccolo
was a rule in the Dragon
died,
Balls.
so I'm pretty sure they couldn't use the Dragon Balls anyway to begin with.
Oh,
So, yeah, they had to use these other Dragon Balls to bring him back, to which brings the regular Dragon Balls. It's an ever, as you can see, this is what I meant, like, the Dragon Balls just became too much. It was already a stepping stone, and I know the show is called Dragon Ball. That's why people are going to hate me. I'm just saying, it's just so much on it, and since you can essentially die and just know you're eventually going to be brought back, it just takes away from the whole, this is the fight for survival, kind of mentality.
Yeah, and if you want to get further on into the series, I believe I don't remember if they said, like, they rewrote the Dragon Balls, but they abolished that rule, obviously, because at many points they just wished everybody back on Earth.
Dragon Ball Super now has the Super Dragon Balls, and I don't even want to fucking get involved in that right now.
Seriously? See,
you just don't bring me there, bud. You're going to bring me there.
I was going to say, as far as GT goes, I didn't hate the idea of the Black Star Dragon Balls as they get, like, spread across the universe type shit. That was okay. I mean, there were plenty of flaws with GT, but I think that the ideas they had were pretty cool. Not executed well, but shit like that. But I do know that they took away that rule of you can only wish someone back once, and that kind of took away the tension.
Right.
Because if that rule wasn't there in the first place, we would have never went to Namek. Vegeta would have gone up there, gotten his shit rocked by Frieza, and it would have been a very, very different show.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, that's what I'm saying. Those are my negative gripes. I don't know if you got something, but
I do. And not that Gohan was ever like a super badass, but you definitely saw he was kind of a little bit whinier than he had been. Granted, he was a year older than when he headbutted Raditz.
He truly shouldn't have went, but
No, he was a very young boy. He shouldn't have been doing any of that. But I'm also in the belief that if you're gonna say yes, I can go do this, you need to nut up and do it, especially with something that important.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where Krillin and Vegeta, like when they had to fight the Ginyu Force and all that, and they're like coming up with these combos, and you're seeing all this, and he's just sitting there like can't do a goddamn thing. It's like, even after the Saiyan saga, you still can't nut up a little bit, and I'm glad he eventually did, but man, it drove me nuts.
And maybe the problem was like they used that time on Namek before Goku showed up to like reinforce the idea that Gohan was super, super powerful, as in, what was it, Guru, the big Namekian,
they gave him his
elder
unlocked potential.
Yes, and that was supposed to be like, okay, now Gohan can kind of fuck shit up. He might not be able to like kill everybody and defeat all the enemies, but he should be able to take on somebody. And from what I remember, he really didn't do much after that, and it was kind of the build up to break me down about Gohan, because
Yeah.
you know as well as I do. I mean, Gohan, after the moment that he headbutted Raditz and beat the shit out of somebody who Goku and Piccolo together had a very hard time doing in, he was my favorite. So I was
you
very
were
ready
like
for him to take
you're
over.
wanting him to grow. It's like you're obviously trying to show him for a reason. So
Sure, but in rewatching it as an adult, and they just kept building him up and saying he's strong, he's strong, he's strong, but he's too afraid to show it, and that was fairly annoying for me, especially knowing that he does eventually gain the strength. It's like, come on. He could have done something on Namek. He could have been a little more useful. Instead, he was just kind of like an errand boy, which, again, he did his part. He got the Dragon Balls away from the baddies. Sure, but still, I want to see some fighting Gohan.
fight and go. And another good, I'm going to give some positives for the overall Frieza Namek thing, is they did finally build a new world. Like, they branched out the universe a little bit. You've been stuck on Earth, like you said, since Goku was a wee little lad. And now you get to see this whole Namek, where Piccolo is essentially from, and you get to, it's starting to explain the universe, which is kind of cool, kind of getting us out there. Space travel, adventure, yay.
It's something, I'll give it that. It like you said, it expanded the universe to something more than just Earth, and that's something me and you both enjoy.
Yes, adventures, we're going on an adventure every day.
Definitely. The more unbelievable things seem, the cooler they seem to us.
Yeah. Do you have any negatives or positives now?
I got some positives. This is when you really started to see that Vegeta was becoming less of just a dead face, deadpan killing machine, and he started to understand emotions. Other than just anger. Because when he originally, I don't remember exactly how he found out, but he left Earth and he went to fucking Namek to get the Dragon Balls to wish himself to be immortal, so he could fucking beat Frieza and all that shit. I think on Namek is when he found out that Frieza was actually responsible for destroying Planet Vegeta.
I thought he knew that a lot more.
I might be wrong, but I don't know. It was either
because I think you're forgetting about Vegeta when he was pretty much about to die in front of Goku, and he's crying to him, saying that you need to beat him because he killed my father. He told me I had to do things, and he still killed my father, even though he said he'd spare him. Like, he got all emotional, and that's
okay. No, you're probably right.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is Vegeta went from wanting revenge to make himself feel better, and in that scene where he's crying to Goku, he's essentially saying, Goku, I need you to defeat this monster. I don't care that I didn't get to do it. I don't pride. He throws his pride away, which is something Vegeta doesn't. Exactly, it's something he doesn't do almost ever. But he throws his pride away and says, Goku, my rival, the person the last person I want to see be stronger than me, go become the legendary Super Saiyan and defeat Frieza.
See, right there, after you just said it and I heard Legendary Super Saiyan, that's the big plus for me right there. I got chills just thinking about it.
And that's something I do have to give up, is before Super Saiyan came along, hearing about the Legendary Super Saiyan, the 1,000-year-old legend that even Frieza himself, this guy who has been shown no challenge, was terrified of, that was fucking cool. That was a very, very cool thing. Did they abuse the shit out of Super Saiyan as the show went on? Absolutely.
Yes, they did. And we will touch on that.
Sure, but the first, inklings of Super Saiyan, and you're just waiting. You're just sitting there waiting for Goku to unleash that power. And you keep seeing him get a little bit stronger. Yeah. But holy fuck, when he finally did it, wow.
Yeah, the emotional build from it. This is also when power-ups took a very long time. Long time.
Yes. It was in these scenes where Goku was confronting Frieza after he killed Krillin that the fillers started to get really bad. And I believe that's because the anime at the time was right on the ass of the manga. So they literally didn't have material to put into the anime.
Exactly.
And that's I almost dislike that more than thought out and planned filler for just getting a few more episodes out.
They couldn't delay it now things get delayed and all that. They didn't want to make it perfect. They're we're making money off this, so we have to push these out.
And I know I mentioned it last week about Digimon, but that's kind of where my problems with Toei animation stem from. It's the fact that they had to push and push and push and make sure that the anime was right behind the manga, even though Toriyama was probably pulling his hair out. I mean, for Christ's sake, the only reason that Super Saiyan is yellow-haired was to save time.
Yeah.
I know I've told you, JD, but anybody who doesn't know, Super Saiyan is only yellow because his assistant couldn't take the time to color in the black hair of Goku. They left it white, which translates to blonde hair.
Yeah, that's why if you look at the old animation, it pretty much almost looks so bleach blonde white. It doesn't look yellow as shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm even talking back into the manga. It was just so much easier to skip all the hair and just do the fucking outline.
Filling in, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
as well,
it was just a time constraint. It's awful, and it shouldn't have happened. If Dragon Ball Z, and again, it's one of the most beloved animes ever, but if they would have done it right and correctly without filler, I think it would legitimately be one of the best written animes, at least up until the Frieza saga, and up until the end.
And that's what I mean. We're leading. This is still the Frieza saga, but one of like the last positives, as I was gonna say, is this was a proper fucking conclusion. It was an epitome of what Akira Toriyama wanted. Like you said, Vegeta gave up his pride. Basically, Goku is standing toe-to-toe with the person that killed his people and essentially all the Saiyans and stuff like that, and he became the legendary Super Saiyan.
And there's a little bit of a duality between Goku and Vegeta that a lot of people don't notice, that Vegeta, as he became less Saiyan and more human, you noticed Goku become slightly less human and become more Saiyan. Not to the point where Goku was a killing machine, but Goku accepted his lineage.
And he was being a little cocky. He was torturing Frieza.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a common thing, and I do like that theme. But that's a common
I do
theme
like
in Dragon
that
Ball.
theme.
I do like it. That power makes you kind of a dick. Even if you're the best guy in the world, how often has Goku powered up and just kind of been, like you said, a cocky asshole, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, a lot of the movies too.
But what I was saying is that Goku completely embraced his Saiyanness, his Saiyan lineage. He understood that, like, even though I grew up with humans and all the humans are my friends, I do have this Saiyan blood in me, and this monster destroyed it. While Vegeta understood, like, I have my Saiyan blood, I have my Saiyan pride, but there are other emotions inside of me that I need to understand and explore.
Exactly.
It was very, very well done. When you talk about just the story of Dragon Ball Z from up to the Frieza saga, absolutely outstanding. It was the animation that killed it.
And the filler that followed.
I guess that's what I meant. It was the adaptation that killed it, that make people look back on it and go, Dragon Ball Z kind of sucked.
Yeah.
And we won't say it sucked, but we also won't fanboy and be like it's amazing, because it did have its flaws, and most of that had nothing to do with the creator.
Yeah, 100%. Anything else do you think you want to add about this arc or saga, or do you think you want to go to the number system for what you grade it?
I do want to say that along with Vegeta's development, I liked watching him fight. It was pretty cool to see him be it was pretty cool to see him be essentially the hero or the anti-hero for a little while on Namek. Kicking the shit out of Zarbon, kicking the shit out of the pink Ripley dude, I don't remember his name.
Doing pretty well against, he cut off that guy's head from the Ginyu Force. I forgot his name, the one that
the little green one, right? That would like stop time or some
Goldo.
Weird shit.
Isn't it Goldo?
Yeah, Goldo or something like that.
Yeah, he was a savage, man. That's like cutting people's heads off. That doesn't really happen a lot now in Dragon Ball Z. So
no, but it was really cool to see Vegeta shine. You don't get to see that as much as you'd like to, and when he does shine later in the series, he fucks it all up.
Yep. I actually have talking points on that, but
sure. You got any closing thoughts on the Frieza saga besides filler killed it, but the rest of it's amazing?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, a lot of it's good, even though, I'm not going to lie, I'll give you a little sneak peek, my rating ain't going to be that good. I just want to say for a fact that, once again, it was a proper conclusion. The story was great. When Goku fights Frieza, it was also wonderful. But I did recently, like 4 or 5 years ago, watched it again and forgot about the filler. And I so badly was trying to like fast forward and skip things just to get to certain points that I remembered. And it's like when I was a child, I just erased all this long, horrible bullshit that happened in that saga that it now has become one of my least favorite sagas.
And
so
when we were kids, we were also watching it week by week, and we had much smaller brains, much smaller memories. So when we saw Goku doing the exact same moves and Frieza reacting the exact same way,
we didn't think about that.
We didn't think about it as we literally just saw this. It had been a week. Our fucking 7-8-year-old brains had pretty much forgotten everything, and we were just, oh, look, Goku do blast.
Goku do blast.
Goku do blast.
You make
Goku
it sound so
now.
dumb. Jesus.
Well, I mean, kids aren't super smart.
Hey now. Let's not turn this into making fun of children now.
Well, yeah, this is the children hating podcast.
We hate all children. If you're listening, you better leave now, or I'm going to tell your dad or mom.
Little fucking bastards! I swear to God.
Fuck it.
But so what's your overall final rating?
If I could separate it, I'm just going to say it. If I could just go by story based and all that, it'd be an 8. It wouldn't be a 9, it'd be an 8, blah, blah, blah. But because of all the things I said, and it really bothered me, it's a 6.5. Like 6.5. It's bad.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'll give it a 9 as far as just straight story goes.
I can't, dude. I told you, like, I even like Frieza, but man, people are like, hey, what arc do you want to watch? I would probably never want to watch the Frieza arc again.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're right. I don't ever want to actually watch. I might want to read it. I might read the manga.
Like if they said like just pick certain parts from the show and watch, the only thing I'd want to watch is like some of the fights in the Super Saiyan part real quickly. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
And that's another thing too, is like when you look back on how much filler there is, one of the potentially best fights in anime and manga is it's a train wreck. It is 9 episodes of maybe 2 to 5 minutes of actual like content.
Yep.
So that sucks.
6.5 rating, that's why.
And when I say 9, I mean the story alone. If you were to fucking have Madhouse come in and animate that the way that Hunter x Hunter 2011 is animated, and cut out the filler and all that shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do it correctly, then it would be a straight up 9. It would be amazing, but I'm going to have to... I think I'm with you, man, because the filler really killed me. I had such a bad time the last time I watched the Frieza saga.
So you're saying it's not a 9 then?
No, I'm saying the story alone is the 9. Like you, you did, you kind of separated the two. But yeah, overall, because I'd have to give it like a fucking to actually watch it. Watching it's probably an experience of like a 3.
Oh, a 3.
So knowing
anything lower than a 5, I don't watch. So technically, I would still watch it if I had to. Unlike the ones I drop. So that's why I have it above a 5.
Well, and that's why I combine the two and get like a 6, I guess, because again, I can kind of separate things. Like with Berserk 2016, I watched the whole thing because I could separate the story and I was.
We already talked about this. Don't mention that name.
I know, but I'm not so mad about it today.
Okay.
But I watched the whole thing because of the story, and I could separate it. Now, I fucking absolutely hate the animation and shit now that I'm a smarter man, but I have that ability to kind of compartmentalize and appreciate what it is. And considering we don't have, like, another Dragon Ball Z to go watch besides Kai, I'd have to give it, I guess we're at a 6.
We're at a 6. We're going to just do a 6. I'll do a 6 with you.
It hurts to say because all the nostalgia tells you the Frieza fight and the Frieza saga was the best that you've ever watched, and then it's not.
Fair enough, man. Well, we're going to move on now. So we're going to kind of group this up together again because we talked about it. The Android saga as well as the Cell saga. We'll put them together in a way, but we're going to talk about them all.
Because they flow into each other. There is no Cell saga without the androids.
Exactly, and yeah. So let's go to you first overall. What do you think about the Android saga? How it all starts, and you know how it starts. What do you think?
With Trunks absolutely ruining Frieza.
Yeah, but how do you feel about the whole Frieza thing after what you just had to go through on Namek, thinking that Goku was the one who defeated him?
I don't hate it.
You don't hate it, okay.
I don't hate it, and I know I probably should, but
I am opposite on this. So.
I thought Trunks was cool, and there's a little bit of that nostalgia, that edgy-looking boy that's like, wow, holy fuck, he's cool. I want to touch his butt.
I'm not gonna lie. Do you think that it was made to be a wow factor to really grab the audience in like the first couple episodes? But when you really think about it, he just stole Goku's overall thunder that made that whole journey worthwhile.
Well, and this is a growing problem, especially after the Frieza saga with Dragon Ball Z, it wanted to build up the fact that there is a new threat that Even if you can go Super Saiyan, this thing that was thought never possible, and you've reached a power level that is above anything you could imagine, it's still not enough. I'm here to tell you that it's not enough. Very cool on its own, but you get into the power scaling problems of you hike it up way too high, way too quickly, and then you really have nowhere to go besides up into ridiculous heights.
And that's my first negative. Power scaling now has gone way too far.
Yes, and that's why I say the Trunks thing on its own is cool, but what it ended up doing to the series sucks.
Yeah, basically, and the positive is Trunks. As much as I'm kind of with you on the same thing, because it's a negative for me, is time travel. I don't like it, but the whole idea of future Trunks' timeline, that shit that he goes through, how things go completely south when Goku's gone and like Gohan becomes the next savior, I liked all of that. I really did.
It was heartbreaking, and it made you feel feelings.
Yeah, and it was actually a darker side of everything, telling about how everyone died, his own Vegeta dies and stuff like that. Like, it actually, this is for once where you had some actual real sacrifice where people can't come back to life anymore, and they couldn't just go to Namek and all this shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It shows a very real, potential future. It brings things to a much realer place. You kind of get away from the battle shown in fantasy aspect, and it's like, hey, people really do die.
Yes.
At least that's what it tried to do.
But yeah, with the whole Trunks thing, a lot of it, everything at the Android Saga has to do, because Trunks is the focal point, and so a lot of positives on Trunks, and with the sword and everything like that. Come on, like, everyone loved Trunks, and his move set was amazing. Like, he was a badass, so...
Now, I don't mean to go off in left field or something, but we did forget, the absolute best arc in Dragon Ball Z.
What's that?
Well, it's right in between the Frieza Saga and the Android Saga. It is the Garlic Jr. arc.
Oh my god. You are such a big fan of that, too. And
I fucking hate Garlic Jr. It's so fucking stupid. The movie was fine, but I didn't realize until the last time I watched it that, like, Garlic Jr. was in the show.
Yeah. I forgot about it. I think I took him out of my head.
It was the exact same premise as the movie, my guy. Literally the exact same thing happened. Like, there were no fucking differences except Goku wasn't there and Gohan was, like, 2 years older. It was the worst, man. You want to talk about, like, you're all waiting for Goku to get back from fucking Namek and shit, and you're all sitting there, and it's like, oh, by the way, Garlic Jr.'s here.
And people are essentially vampires.
Oh, yeah, it turned everybody into vampires, but then Piccolo and the power of friendship, or he just couldn't get poisoned or something, but he spent, like, half the arc, like, acting like a bad guy, and then just all of a sudden he's like, yeah, poison doesn't affect me, or some weird shit.
Haha, you thought.
Here, note to Toei, don't make your own arcs. You're not good at it.
Yeah.
You do not have what it takes.
No, back to the Android Saga. I'm going to say another thing.
Yeah, back to the real shit.
Yeah, back to the real shit. I'm going to say another plus I'm giving, and I don't know if it bothers you, but I actually liked that they took a bad guy or an enemy from Dragon Ball and placed him into this to make it, not seem as crazy that there's a more powerful being, Dr. Gero. It actually
I do think
cool.
The setup was pretty good.
The Red Ribbon Army, that somebody overall was watching them throughout their growth, planning, I'm going to kill Goku and stuff like that. Like, okay, it's not as further non-believing, stuff like that. So
no, and that's a character pulled from Dragon Ball that has every reason to have a lifelong give up everything grudge to destroy Goku. Goku he destroyed the entire Red Ribbon Army. Everything fucking Gero spent his entire life building up for, like, world domination or some stupid shit like that. So he has a legitimate gripe.
Yeah.
And you're right, I do like that. I didn't hate the Android Saga. I didn't hate where it went. I think we're in agreement that ideally it should have ended after the Frieza Saga.
Yes.
But considering that he was essentially pressured and forced into continuing the story, I don't have a problem with the androids and bringing back Dr. Gero and doing... I think that was a fairly good setup.
No, I'll say, surprisingly, he was able to pull it together, at least story-wise, to where it makes sense. It's just the power scaling, like we've said, it just started getting a little bit convoluted and a little bit like... He's like, shit, well, yeah... we got to make them stronger. We got to do these things. I don't know. He was just trying.
I don't think it necessarily started to show that it was a problem until closer to the end of the cell, the end of all the android shit going on, and then it continued on. Because right now it's like, okay, well, there's more shit. Super Saiyan's not enough, so I guess we have to like learn. And then they explained it pretty well. Like Goku was like, you can't just stay Super Saiyan. It takes an enormous amount of energy, and it runs out quick. So
yes,
that was kind of a way.
That was a great idea of it.
Yeah, that was kind of a way to like keep it in the same realm of power scale while saying like we can still improve on this crazy shit that we never realized before.
But what did you think about all the new androids, like 19 and 20, even though 20 was Dr. Jojo, where Trunks is like, these aren't the androids I was talking about? Do you think it was a little stupid to change things up?
No, not necessarily, because as much as I hate time travel, I guess I do appreciate the fact that it's like, you know, you throw a wrench in the cog and things start to really change. So that was all right.
But then the whole cell showed up because of the time travel.
Definitely. So, like, I think if Trunks would have come back and just told them about 17 and 18, granted they were powerful, but I think if it would have went exactly like it went in his future, I don't know that it would have been very interesting. It's almost like replaying a video game that you've already played through with a set story and you can't really veer to one side or the other.
Yeah.
It's like with the future guy going, wow, I've never seen these guys before. It added a cool little wrinkle. It's like, oh, shit, okay. And it makes you, the viewer, go, wow. So this isn't just going to be kind of a simple run-through of just try not to die and try to beat them. It's like, now there's shit that even the informant doesn't know about.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Their character designs were fucking ugly, though. I do have to say, I don't like the character designs.
I was going to say, that was, I don't know. It wasn't the best choice if I could, pick one.
No, it wasn't great, but it was pretty cool to see Vegeta come. It was Vegeta, right, who came down and absolutely ruined Android 19?
Yes, because Goku was getting the heart virus at the time that they were fighting, and he could no longer, maintain his Super Saiyan, and yeah, he got his ass kicked, and Vegeta, being all cocky, beat the shit out of 19 and thought, I could beat up anyone now.
Yep, pretty much.
And that's all of the Cell Saga where, I know Vegeta has grown a lot, but goddamn, he essentially, next to Krillin, is the reason why Cell became perfect.
Well, you notice Vegeta's kind of a fairly human person.
Yeah.
Because he after he like almost dies or does die on Namek, he kind of does the whole like, I've changed, Goku, Kakarot, whatever you want to call him. It's like, you carry on my mantle type stuff. But then when he's alive and it's not on death's door, and he realizes he can go Super Saiyan, he's back to that, I'm the fucking greatest, you
I'm
all
the
suck
prince
but
of all
me.
Saiyans.
You all suck but me. So that was pretty cool because, like, people in real life, you don't just flip a switch and change your personality. You can decide you want to change, but it's a constant, like, you have to keep working on it. And then Vegeta, he was like, I want to change. And then as soon as he kind of was able to get to where Goku was, he's like, yeah, fuck change. I'm the Prince of all Saiyans. Suck my ass, boys.
I love it. I do love it.
And I don't hate that. I think that's fine.
Yeah, and overall, throughout the whole thing, he keeps getting slices of humble pie, but he, in a way, doesn't change, because, like, Android 18 straight up breaks his arm, like, makes him look like a plaything. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, she does manhandle that punk ass.
Yeah. But overall, what it leads up to is Cell, and my negative gripe about Cell, and it happens in the Buu Saga, is all these transformations. After Frieza had like 4 transformations, and now every single baddie has this whole transformation, like, this is my second stage, this is my third stage. It was a little bit annoying for me. It was just a reason put in there so that way Piccolo, Vegeta, people that aren't Goku essentially have a chance to fight him, and then they in the end can't finish the job and Perfect Cell is made. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I was not focused on podcast stuff. I do have a day job, and I got a fucking phone call. It's fine, though. It's fine.
Can you tell him to fuck off?
Yeah, no. I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
It distracted me, and full disclosure, I have anxiety when it comes to like helping people out and like making sure that like things are done kind of correctly with my quote unquote clients or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, I just kind of like spaced out there and thought like, oh fuck,
Anxiety.
Anxiety.
I can't even spell.
So I'm sure what you were saying was a great, well thought out argument, but can we do like the 2-minute elevator pitch real quick for me?
Oh no, I was just talking about how I didn't like Cell in a way because after Frieza with the many transformations, and then in the future we'll talk about Boo, but every bad guy started to become, this isn't even my final form, this is my second form, and the only reason why these forms were put in there were so that people like Piccolo, Vegeta, Trunks all had a chance to fight said Cell. But in the end, they can't beat him because, we got to go to the main protagonist. And you can even see that more and more as the arcs kept going.
You see, I don't even know if it was so much that as like we have to let other people have the spotlight. And I think it was a lot more simple than that. Well, hear me out. I think it was just to the point where it was like, wow, everybody loved that Frieza had 8 forms. Well, why not do it with my next guy?
See, it was cool when it was Frieza because he was supposed to be this ultimate being, and you find out he's just playing with these fuckers saying, I'm only in my second form. But when Cell, he needed these androids for, become perfect, and then you have things like Krillin where he's like, well, I can't get rid of 18. I want to bang the shit out of her and stuff like that. I'm a simp. I don't know. It's just, I didn't like it, but I didn't like it more as I got older, and I realized that you literally... It was your own selfish ego that made it so the world technically... And we talked about that with Goku when we said, like, why you don't think he's a great protagonist in certain parts and stuff like that, or a father in general.
He's a terrible father and a lackluster protagonist as far as, like, character development goes,
But what it is there's a lot of characters that have ruined things because of their ego, like Vegeta did in the Cell Saga by, like, get to your ultimate form. I want you to. And it's like, you're an idiot. Beat him now.
My defense in that, though, is stupid as that was. That's exactly what Vegeta's character should and was supposed to have done with his mentality at the time.
But he still is still a dick.
He's
even
an idiot.
In the Boo Saga, he still is that way. That's what I mean. So I know he grows, but in a way, he still didn't learn his fucking lesson.
We'll get into it, but he in the Boo Saga is where you see Vegeta truly become what he truly grow into a human.
Just only took 200 and something episodes.
No doubt. And like I said, it's the tale of two developments. You got Piccolo in the beginning, and then it starts to fade away from Piccolo's development, and it starts to bring in more of Vegeta's. You have to have a tsundere man in Dragon Ball Z developing.
I'm sorry, Mitch. He's going to be hearing this and be like, yo, Vegeta's my boy. And I'll be like,
no, I love Vegeta. I'll say it until the day I die. Vegeta's the most, was the best written character in Dragon Ball.
I can make fun of him a lot, though. He has many reasons to make fun of him.
Oh, his one-liners are absolutely amazing. Fucking Super Saiyan bargain sale. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
Is it over? Not till the fish jump. It's over.
Or real quick in the fucking last World Martial Arts Tournament or whatever, right before the Buu Saga, when he throws that punch into the thing and absolutely destroys the punching machine.
Yeah.
He's just looking at everybody like, what? What up? Goku's like, come on, dude, really? You had to do that? He's like, well, I got to show him I'm strong, right?
You know, you can't back down.
But no, with the whole back to the fucking letting Cell transform. First of all, the transformations, it seems bad now, but at the time that was a fairly new thing. I think Toriyama kind of, I believe he pioneered the whole "this isn't even my final form" with Frieza. So seeing it in the same anime in the next arc wasn't as jarring, I don't believe, to people the first time they saw it. But to us seeing it and it being such a trope nowadays, it's like, okay, buddy, why don't you try something different? But Vegeta letting Cell get to his final form, you're right. It is like it is a plot point to get it to where Cell can. I mean, they already said he has a final form, so you have to have a way for him to get there. But the plot point that they chose to with Vegeta being like, well, yeah, I'm stronger than Goku now. I can kick the shit out of you. I can kick the shit out of anybody.
Yeah.
That made a lot of sense. It pissed me off. It was stupid. You realize that Vegeta could have actually been the hero, but Vegeta wouldn't let himself be the hero. He wanted to be the double hero.
Yeah, you always got to go above and beyond. But that being said, a great thing that also they led up to one of my favorite parts in the Cell Saga near the end is that throughout this whole time, Goku and Gohan are training in the hyperbolic time chamber, and you finally see that Goku can see from the get-go that he's like, Gohan is stronger than me. This has been built up from the beginning, that you can tell that he has this hidden power, and you see they've been staying in Super Saiyan the whole time, trying to get comfortable in it, and right before the tournament that Cell makes for everyone to do in, he's like, we're just going to live our lives outside the hyperbolic time chamber, but we're going to maintain our Super Saiyan form. And Goku has no worry in the world. He literally is sitting back enjoying life while Gohan does not understand what's going on. Like, why is he so laid back about this?
And that was the true innocent young boy that Goku was supposed to be, to where it's like he's not completely disregarding everybody else's feelings.
Yeah.
But he also is like, there's nothing we can do about it today.
Yep.
We might as well just have a good day. There's no reason to be stressing about this. Well, you're going to fight tomorrow. The tension will be tomorrow. There's no good reason we can't just have like a normal day today.
Yeah, he wanted to enjoy it. It's kind of, I don't know, I liked it. I like that he was, he's always been laid back, but I just liked it. And it's like, everyone gets mad about it, but I think he knew deep down, he's like, Gohan's going to be the savior and not me.
Oh, he had the utmost confidence in his son. He almost knew it from the get-go.
Yeah.
That he wasn't going to be able to beat Cell, and that Gohan was going to have to do it. No, Gohan had to fucking shovel out fucking 18 piles of shit in between him and his badassness.
Have a little mental breakdown.
Sure. So let's get into the Cell games.
This is my favorite thing, or what we like to call it, 2 versus 1, because there was only 2 basic fights. But
I was gonna say, as far as an actual tournament went,
it's horrible.
It was awful.
Who fucking made this fucking tournament?
Yeah. If you want to look at it as like an actual tournament arc, probably one of the worst tournament arcs. As in, like, it wasn't a tournament. But it was cool. You were introduced to Hercule, who would be the comic
Satan.
relief. Yes, Mr. Satan. He would be the comic relief for the rest of the show. Sort of, he's that ridiculous guy who's like the strongest human, kind of like the strongest normal martial arts fighter.
Yeah.
But then he runs into all these crazy motherfuckers and just kind of, it's almost like he has PTSD from then on.
Yeah, he does. He's always worried about them and their blonde hair.
Yeah, he's just like, wow, I'm really glad they were there, but and he takes all the credit anyway, but he's always kind of looking over his shoulder type shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. I love Mr. Satan, especially the first time you see him. He's just an absolute cocky ass bastard, and then Cell throws one backhand at him, and he's gone.
He's gone.
In the mountains, he's gone.
Hey, the fact that he lived from that, though, does show he's pretty strong.
He has absolutely ridiculous resilience. He's been through some shit.
Yeah. But when it comes to the tournament, I'm not going to lie, one of my favorite fights was Goku versus Cell.
It was really good.
I remember what they quote-unquote called, that was a good warm-up, where it was like straight up like 3-4 minutes of back and forth fighting, doing so many different things in the air, on the ground, back and forth, and everyone's having a hard time watching, and they say it's a warm-up, and then they get to it. Like, bro, to this day, I'm still like, yo, they flexing out here. Like, oh my God.
For sure.
But, yeah, I don't know. I don't have many gripes about it. I think when Gohan replaces Goku in the fight, I know he had to get through some trauma to really show his thing, but him not doing much for a while and just, telling, Cell to stop hurting my friends, even though Cell is like a bad person, it kind of annoyed me, but I know there's a reason. You're going to tell me because Gohan is such a pure-hearted kid. I just wanted him to show it, let out his anger, let it all out. And that's what I was waiting for.
I'm the exact opposite. I got plenty of gripes about the Cell games.
Ooh, okay.
I'll say it right now. The fact that it had almost no tournament style to it. I mean, obviously,
you're bringing it up again.
I get it. It's Cell. It's one guy. Whatever.
Yeah.
The fact that Goku just stops, decides I can't beat him, which is fine in and of itself. But then he's like, "Hey, Cell, you want a sensu bean to fight my son?"
Yes, that was a bad idea.
That's fucking ridiculous. Are you serious? And that's one of the many times going forward that Goku is just stupid. Not like ignorant or anything. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he does it anyway. And you're right. The Gohan not being able to let go of his shit. And
like you said, if you hear so much build up, it's like, dude, I get it. You don't want to do it, but you're going to build all this hype and you're going to say you want to fight and then you're gonna chicken out last minute. Don't be a Shinji, just go for it.
Sure, and it does hurt me. I mean, I'll even give it. I mean, Shinji got in the robot more than fucking Gohan did. And it hurts because my best memory of Dragon Ball Z from childhood is watching Gohan, fucking one arm pretty essentially torn off, throw that one-handed Kamehameha and just disintegrate Cell.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing scene. But everything that led up to it was kind of annoying. Like you said, you didn't really get to see that hand-to-hand fighting that we loved. Granted, again, with Toei animation, it's just like a bunch of frames shown over and over, so it's nothing new. It's not like you're seeing anything crazy, but it's still neat to watch.
Right, of course.
Goku having to, like, sacrifice himself, but then Cell's still alive, and it's like, well, Goku, you gave him a fucking Senzu bean, and then...
I was going to say, with the Goku sacrifice thing, I almost would have been fine with it ending that way, because in a way, Goku realized, man, I made a horrible mistake, and this time I'm going to die for good.
Mm-hmm. And that was like, oh, shit, I actually made a mistake, and I'm going to pay for my mistakes.
No, can't end that way.
No, absolutely not. And... Fucking, like I said, the last scene was fine, I guess, when Gohan finally blasted him away, but after Goku made all those terrible decisions, and I get it, you gotta make sure that things get done, but he's screaming at his son. It's like, I know I really put you in this terrible position, but fucking get powered up and hit Cell right now!
Fuck up! You don't realize the shit I had to do to get you here?
And you don't realize it when you're younger, but like you watch it as an adult, and he is, like, Sean Shamel fucking is literally screaming like an abusive fucking father at Gohan. Like, get over your shit and fucking fight him right now.
Yeah.
Ugh. So yeah, the culmination, like everything, that's a big thing with Dragon Ball Z is like you look at it from afar and you're like, that's amazing.
But essentially he became Super Saiyan 2 first, though. That was a big deal.
That was very fucking cool. Once he finally, and that's the thing, once he finally became Super Saiyan 2 and started to be like kind of a badass, cool. But holy fuck, the however many episodes it took for him to get there, and however many times he just went, Dad, I can't do it. Dad, I can't do it. It's like, come on, dude, just Jesus fucking Christ, man. You know you can.
Exactly.
Just another doing Gohan dirty when they should have done him better.
So it's that time again. We got to rank this overall Android and Cell arc and put them together. What would you give it?
7.5.
Oh, actually, yeah. When it was Android Saga, I put 7. Cell Saga, I put 7.5. So I'm gonna meet there. I'm gonna say 7.5 as well.
Yeah. It was better. There wasn't nearly as much filler, and there was plenty of good stuff about it. Now, I do have to say that the story was worse than the Frieza Saga, so that didn't help.
He did well with trying to tie it together, so that's why it's not bad.
Oh, it was fine for what he had to do, but the fact of the matter is this was not part of that grand scheme plan that we were talking about, where it's like boy crashes to Earth from alien planet, and at the end, boy destroys destroyer of alien planet.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, that's supposed to be the end, right? And it's like, well, now boy has son, and son destroys destroyer of boy when he was young, because young boy destroyed all old man things.
That's a lot of boy in that sentence.
It's a lot of bullshit, and I gotta give it up to Toriyama. He kind of took all this crazy bullshit, and even time travel, and was like, yeah, it works out okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll say 7.5.
All right, well, there we go. So there's a 7.5 right there for both of us. So
are we getting into the... Did you want to take a pit stop to the outer world or the other world tournament arc?
I was gonna skip it and just go to the Buu Saga. I mean, we know it's there, but isn't it technically like another filler kind of thing?
It is a filler arc, but I have to say it's a pretty good filler arc. There's not a bunch of bullshit there. It's
an actual good tournament. So I mean, we can say a real quick that we enjoyed it for sure. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was great.
It was enjoyable.
Seeing something else in another universe take place and all that stuff. I never came up with a rating because I didn't even think about it.
It was very short. It was like 10 episodes maybe, but I mean, it was cool. I thought we should at least bring it up so people knew that we didn't forget about it.
And to be honest, that was better than like the Frieza and Cell Saga, almost in my opinion. So, the Grand Kai. Oh, come on now.
I mean, as far as the actual, like, what you watched on the screen, you didn't have to sit through a bunch of filler bullshit. You didn't have to sit through a whiny kid.
Yep.
It was literally just a fighting tournament. Just enough comedy to make it Dragon Ball Z, but towards the end, you had that, like, legitimate fight between Goku and Pikkon. Pikkon. You mean you're not Piccolo? And I think he even said that. But it's
You mean you're not Piccolo? You're not a Namek?
That's something Toriyama will do. He'll just fucking character designs. He'll just be like, yeah, I will make you look like the other guy. I don't care.
Yeah, what's his name? Piccolo? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Pikkon, Piccolo, very, very close. My hair is falling out. I don't have time for names.
But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, don't skip the Other World tournament.
Don't.
It's worth watching.
Don't do that. But we are on to the last and final arc of the day. It's been a long trip. This is the one where I'm going to discuss something that bothers me greatly.
Okay. Can I say one thing real quick?
Go for it.
I was a young boy again. A lot of these memories from Dragon Ball Z was from when I was a young boy. But I bought a VHS. You remember how fucking Dragon Ball Z and shit used to come in like 3-episode VHS?
Yeah, it's bullshit,
tapes?
But yes.
Yeah, and every now and then, you'd find one in a store and you'd get it, and it would be like the middle of like the Cell Saga fight or something.
Yeah.
No. I was not like, I won't say I was like a poor kid, but I didn't get all the fucking physical media that I could hold. But I had one VHS of Dragon Ball Z from the fucking Buu Saga, and it was the worst 3 episodes. It was like 2 episodes of Gohan in the other world with Grand Kai or Elder Kai. But the 2 episodes where he didn't pull the sword out of the rock, and the other episode was like Buu messing around and eating chocolates in the city. I was so sad, JD. I was so excited because the cover was Gohan with the fucking like Elder Sword, and I'm like, yes, I want this.
Probably because the last episode he pulls it out.
He like pulled it out the last 2 seconds of the last episode or some bullshit like that. So that's a bad memory I have of how fucking anime used to be distributed, and I'm happy it's not that
just
way
reminded me about, because I had VHs as well. My dad had bought me some, and I had the ones where Gotenks shows up, like they do the fusion become Gotenks.
It's just like with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, my dude. You get all the good ones, no matter if you bought the exact same ones.
You didn't let me finish though. My memory is that if my dad has an anger problem.
Okay, yeah.
When I was younger, growing. Yeah, yes. You see, you're already laughing because
we've grown up together. We know.
And basically, he would put in the VHS, and one time it wasn't playing. So I went to my dad and I was like, "Hey, I don't know why, but I can't play my video." And he kept pushing it in, and kept pushing it out, pushing it in, pushing it out.
Is that when he stabbed the VHS player?
No. This time he got really mad and said, "Fucking thing won't work," and he chucked it against my wall and shattered the fucking thing. And he's like, "Now you're not gonna watch it," even though I didn't do anything. I just asked for help. So
I'll never forget walking into your house as like a fucking adolescent and just looking over in your living room, and there's a fucking steak knife sticking out of your VCR. I'm like, what happened? Like, Dad tried to fix it and just got mad. It's all good. We're fine. Like, okay.
Yeah, we're fine now. He took a walk. I think he's all right. Someone may be dead. I don't know.
He did too. He just get over it real quick. He just throw something, stab something, and be like, all right, no, I'm good now. We're fine. Let's get this done. Okay.
Yeah, okay. It's just, I remember it that, I had some VHSs, but some things did get broken. It wasn't from my end, so.
Anywho, now that we've repressed, gone over some repressed memories here.
Yeah, either way, the Buu Saga, I don't know how to really rate this last one. There's a lot of ups and downs for me because there's so many highs, in my opinion, but so many lows.
The animation definitely got super crispy during these next couple sagas. Or this saga.
My biggest gripe, and it's been ever since, like, the Cell Saga got pretty bad, but it really went too far when all of a sudden Goten, Trunks, all these people were able to become Super Saiyans as kids.
Mm-hmm. It happened almost immediately without any extensive training.
And they talked about Saiyan cells. Now,
yeah, I know you have a big gripe about the S cells.
Apparently, there are more Saiyan cells in half or quarter Saiyans than regular. I'm just getting stupid thinking about it.
The way I remember it being explained is that, like, I don't remember if this had anything to do with Saiyan cells. I think Toriyama's had like 4 or 5 explanations for this shit.
I think he had a heart murmur and he forgot what he was trying to do with the Saiyans.
But I do remember at one point he stated that it had to do more with emotions, the human emotions, the reasons that Saiyans for years and years couldn't become the legendary Super Saiyan was because they were so shut off from their deeper emotions. It was anger and violence.
You think that, right? Right.
That
okay.
makes sense to me.
And I'm going to pull
was a
something from
fine
Dragon Ball
explanation
Super.
at first.
I'm going to pull something from Dragon Ball Super so
boy.
I can just tell you after you just explain that.
Oh, jeez.
So basically, in the middle of Dragon Ball Super, Vegeta essentially teaches this other guy, I think his name's Cabbage. I fucking forgot his name. He's basically Saiyans from a different universe and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like Khalifa and Kale or some shit like that too, like female Super
Basically,
Saiyans.
They all start, once he becomes a Super Saiyan, he's all excited that, Vegeta taught him how to become a Super Saiyan, all that stuff. Goes around explaining to Khalifa, whatever the fucking names are, all about how it works. And he's like, you basically feel a tingle in your back. You force all your energy to that point, and you make it come out, and they make it seem like it has to do with anger and all that stuff. Yet you just said that it's about emotion and, like, isn't it about being more pure and all that stuff? It's harder.
Well, not so much pure. It's just embracing, like, deep sadness and deep anger.
But in Super, they don't bring any of that up. They don't mention that. So it's like, you got to figure shit out. At the beginning, when Goku becomes Super Saiyan, he's angry. And then in the halfway point, you say it doesn't have to go with that. And then in Super, you're saying, well, it's a tingle in your back. And you just got to focus all your energy to that point. And then you just let it come out. And it's like, what is it, man? What is it?
No, it sounds like they really fucked it with Super, honestly.
I'm having a hard time remembering 100%, but I remember listening to him explain it, and I was dumbfounded because there's been 3 different ways, apparently, you can become a Super Saiyan now.
Yeah, that's awful, because I like the emotion, even if it's bad emotions or whatever, I like that explanation better, because that explains why Vegeta was able to become Super Saiyan, because
exactly.
If you remember that scene on the asteroid or whatever, he just literally, he gave up. He said, it's kind of like a Gon with his transformation, but not quite as dramatic. Is like, I don't care, and he just let himself break down. And with that influx of emotion, he was able to become Super Saiyan.
That's what it's just, I don't know. And in Buu Saga, they just forgot about it. And once again, it was like a wow factor. So for a split second, you see Goten and Trunks become Super Saiyan, and you're like, oh my god, they achieved it. And you're as surprised as Vegeta and Gohan are. Mm-hmm. But then when you sit for a minute and you think back, you're like, am I a joke to you? Like, is Goku and everything am I a joke to you? Is that really how it is? And it kind of bothers me the more I think about it.
Yep. No, I don't blame you there. That's one of my less favorite parts about the Buu Saga.
Yeah. I got another one too, but I figured I'd let you go a little bit.
No, hit me for a minute. I'm playing off of you pretty good.
Okay. Too many power-ups and transformations. Not just on Buu side. I'm saying this was one where they're like, guys, this is like going to be the epitome of everything. We got to add fusions. We need to add fusions on top of Super Saiyan 3, which, mind you, my biggest positive is I love Goku Super Saiyan 3. To this day, still love that moment. I still watch the clip of him powering up because I felt like, I don't know, I loved it. Anyway, just too much of everything. Just Gohan making his ultimate form. I get it was cool and all that, but once again, it was just to show him strong for a minute and then kick him to the curve again. Like, everything, there was just too many power-ups, too much power scaling. Just, Buu was so strong at his, second form, he was able to rip open a dimension and the hyperbolic time chamber. Like, dude, it just didn't make sense. The hyperbolic time chamber was supposed to be this incredible thing you could never get out of. I don't know. It was all over the place,
Yeah, this is when you realize that Toriyama was really hitting the bottom of the barrel for new, exciting ideas. And I don't blame him. He had been doing this at the point of the Buu Saga. This poor bastard had been 15, maybe 20 years into writing this fucking anime.
Yeah,
or
I
this
can
fucking
understand.
manga.
He's just man had to come up with shit, but it was like there's just too many transformations.
And that's funny that you say that because I know how much you love Super Saiyan 3, and it's kind of like you're putting your blinders on for that one. You're like, too many transformations, but keep this one, please.
It's the lightning too, man. The long hair and the lightning. Like, as soon as Super Saiyan 2 was shown, I'm like, oh, they had to make another Super Saiyan. And then I see the sparks, and I'm like, well, we can keep it around. I mean, I'm not saying we don't need it. We got to watch it here.
At least Buu with his transformations kind of went reverse. I'm not saying it was done perfect, but instead of going, this isn't even my final form, Boo was, this isn't even my original form. So it was kind of reverse, because the only reason he was Fat Boo, you find out, is because he absorbed, like, the chunky Kai or whatever. The Supreme Kai. So he just took on his features.
So, but that being said, since it essentially starts out with a tournament going on, and Gohan being this great Saiyaman, how did you feel about that?
I hated the great Saiyaman. It was so annoying. And I'm all for memes. I love meme characters.
They made him a bitch.
He's the great Saiyaman's not even a meme. He's just stupid. Holy fuck. So that sucked. They really made Gohan kind of like a Gary Sue or a Gary Stu or whatever. They did my boy dirty.
Do you like the way he talked?
No, I hated it. That was the worst part. Hello, fine people of Z City. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Just, come on.
But it leads into the tournament arc where Goku is brought back for one day because he's going to fight in the tournament. And
yep.
I don't remember it was you or someone else, but didn't you say you didn't like that they brought Goku back, or was it like okay with you?
I didn't think that they needed to bring Goku back into the series as a main focus at all.
Right.
If I'm being honest, Gohan, even being the stupid great Saiyaman that he was literally put in the position to be Earth's next savior. He was an adult now, so he had gotten over most of that childhood being afraid of fighting. He had the power of Super Saiyan 2. He had the knowledge of how to defeat an enemy, and then
he did nothing with it.
And then they just bring Goku back, and I would have been fine if they actually, brought him back and gave him the halo and was like, you can only be back for a day. He could have been more of like a guide for Gohan, and it really seemed like it was going that way for most of Dragon Ball Z, or most of the Buu saga, I should say.
But then, you know what happens.
Well, yeah, and then they just had to make it so Goku gets the final hit. And that kind of sucked. But yeah, before we get too far into how dirty they did my boy, I want to stick around that tournament.
Yeah.
This is where you saw Vegeta, again, develop even further. In a very, very heartfelt, emotional way. This is my favorite Vegeta collection of scenes.
Right, I was going to say, my positive is this is where I finally got to see Vegeta go through many different things and finally kind of atone for what he did.
Well, you got to see him literally bury his old self.
Yes.
Because he got the ultimate power that he'd always wanted, and he was finally able to defeat Goku. I mean, didn't he actually beat Goku? I know Goku didn't go Super Saiyan 3.
Actually, no. They both were neck and neck the whole time, and pretty much never faltering. And then Goku was sensing Majin Buu was pretty much coming out of his eggshell, I believe, or whatever his cocoon was, and told Goku that, we need to defeat this enemy together. And Vegeta says, and then knocks him out. So.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, he was able to I'm just saying, he finally had the power to be equal to, if not maybe even a little bit greater than Goku.
Goku later, you later find out Goku apparently did have Super Saiyan 3 the whole time. Yeah. So Vegeta got pissed, but Goku said, I didn't know if it even would work. Because he only had done it once or twice, and he can only maintain it for a very, very short amount of time.
And that's the thing, too, is I believe that Vegeta, if he could have survived Super Saiyan 3, would have won because of the energy depletion.
Yeah.
But Majin Vegeta, you see him get everything that early young Vegeta wanted. Power, the ability to defeat Goku, the ability to never be defeated again and never take a hit to his pride. And then he
killed people, too.
He did. He started killing people again and shit because of that overwhelming power. We talked about it earlier. It's a theme in Dragon Ball. Great power corrupts greatly type shit.
Yes.
Even if it only does it a little bit, it still changes great people into kind of dinks. But Vegeta was already kind of a dink. Turns kind of dinks into mass murderers.
That dinks into mass murderers, for sure.
Yeah, but watching Vegeta with the Majin parts going on, with the Majin symbol, with everything, still decide I choose my son over this. That was really cool. It was almost like a cap on the character development of Vegeta.
Yeah, his sacrifice was a big moment, and once again, kind of like I said with Goku with Cell, I mean, it would have been short, but that would have been a way to end it.
Yes, it would have been very short. And I've never really thought of that as a potential ending, but
Well, if you think about it, Goku was only there for a day, so he
Mhm.
was gonna get sent back to the other world. Vegeta dies too. They're both in Outworld, and then Gohan is the last person because he was still technically alive.
yeah, no, that's yeah, because Gohan was up in Outer World or Other World or something. It didn't take him
No, no,
long to
no.
get there. I
At
remember
that
that.
time, I think Gohan was still on Earth because he got blasted by Boo before Vegeta showed up.
See, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've watched
I got
it.
you,
I
man.
guess
I've got you, bud. I got you. I remember these things
it's
in
weird.
my
I
brain.
remember the Saiyan and then fucking Namek Saga is way more in depth than the Buu Saga for some reason.
Well, it's because the writing was pretty choppy.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But moving on from Vegeta and his kind of character development, like finish, his character arc came to a complete circle, 180.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I give Vegeta shit, but I do like Vegeta, and it's like a duo. You can't think of Goku without Vegeta nowadays. It's like they're perfect, combination. So
Yep.
that being saying, my other positive was the fight between him and Goku. The second fight that they have, I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, it was amazing. Super Saiyan 2 Goku versus Majin Vegeta.
Oh yes,
fucking
that
outstanding.
was that. I think those were like some of those like they would like really, and like you said, the animation got a lot better. Like the punches and like the overall, like they were hurting the shit out of each other. Like
It was a very real fight.
This is what happens when we play football and we get mad at each other. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, not quite, but close.
Yeah. But no, that was a highlight of the moment. And Super Saiyan 3 for me. I know we were touching on it a little bit, but come on now. I mean, you're telling me you didn't enjoy Super Saiyan 3. You got mad at Goku for this, and I understand. But I'm just saying that whole moment for me was a wow feel. Like, everyone loves it.
I mean, it was super cool, especially when I was a young man. Super cool to watch. New transformations were always, and still can be, a very cool thing for me. But Super Saiyan 2 is my favorite. I feel like that was kind of the culmination of the Super Saiyan. It was pretty much what happens when you can be Super Saiyan 110% of the time. You kind of get this extra boost of power, which would be Super Saiyan 2.
And speed, right? Yeah.
I think
you
Super
get the
Saiyan.
speed.
Yeah. I mean, you get everything when Dragon Ball Z. When you get a boost of power, you get all your stat boxes go up by a few points.
And really, going forward, Super Saiyan 3 isn't really ever used again because it is bad.
I could make the case that Super Saiyan 3 could have been taken out of the series altogether. I know it's your favorite, JD, and I don't want you to come to my house and stab me, brother. But I think Super Saiyan 3...
I'm just going to buy my time. Don't worry about it.
In a word, Super Saiyan 3 was unnecessary.
Yes,
I don't think it brought
it was.
anything besides a really cool-looking transformation to the
And
series.
Goku did use it a lot to keep up with Kid Buu when it got to that
Not even a lot, though, because when you really think back to it, this I do remember. It was only a short part of the fight where he went Super Saiyan 3. Because he went Super Saiyan 3 to fight Fat Buu, and he could have absolutely annihilated him.
Yep.
Like you said, I don't like that about Goku, because he said, well, I guess I'll let somebody else be the hero. You should have just never showed up then, dog. You should have just never showed up then. And it's almost like breaking the fourth wall in the worst way possible, because it's like, yeah, you should have. Everybody sitting around said we should have, but here you are.
Always wants me to do it.
Here you are with a new transformation, but you just decided not to. Anyway, and yeah, even when he fought Kid Buu, he only, for a small portion of that fight, was in Super Saiyan 3, and then my boy Vegeta literally just got his ass beat for like 10 episodes straight, until Goku decided to say, yeah, Vegeta ain't working, dude. I don't know.
Move, Vegeta! I
don't
can't
know, I don't know
move.
what's going
I've been
on.
beaten the fuck out of.
Vegeta's getting the shit kicked out of him, and he's just screaming, Kakarot, how long's it gonna take? Are you almost ready? And Goku's like, yeah, I'm almost there. And then you hear his internal monologue. It's like, yeah, I'm not gaining any power. I don't know what's going on. This is weird. And it's like, no, you should tell Vegeta that. Let him know. And then
he didn't want to get his hope up,
Yeah, so I would have been much more okay if it was just like and I liked the whole scenes with Vegeta sacrificing himself and just being a roadblock for Goku. But I think it would have been better if Goku would have just beaten him in 3. It would have made 3 worthwhile. But the fact that he wasn't able to finish the job in Super Saiyan 3 made it seem like Super Saiyan 3 could have never been there and the same results would have happened.
Yeah, that's why I do say the transformations are the problem, because they had so many power-ups. And then let's not forget, your boy Ultimate Gohan had the chance
Gohan's
to technically... He had a chance to beat Super Buu when he was at that form, and he, comes in all edgelord like, badass, like, no, I'm here to kill you. And it's like, ooh, ooh, and then... Yeah, nothing goes on from there. He gets absorbed, and that's the end of that.
No, I feel you. And even before that, like Gotenks, you want to talk about like...
Yep, another one.
I mean, even he went Super Saiyan 3, but that's a big reason why I think it's useless, unnecessary, because it's like, okay, we're just going to give this guy Super Saiyan 3 because it's the new transformation, and we need to showcase it. And
once again, kids getting super powerful out of nowhere, and you're like, I get it, you fuse, but I don't think you can just master Super Saiyan 3 when Goku literally can't even control it yet.
And that's the thing, too, is I know the, if you want to call it pacing or whatever, but it's the anime trope of, we have 5 minutes in this transformation, and it takes 18 episodes. I mean, you know that all too well. But, yeah, that was another thing, too. It's like, Goku can only do this for so long, and you guys are also on a time limit of the 30 minutes to transform, and it just felt like it went on forever just to have, and it just felt like a showcase of new moves. That's all it really felt like, and this is kind of when Dragon Ball Z started to become a little less about the meat and potatoes, the bones of the fucking series of the story, and became more about what everybody started
action.
to...
What's the next thing to talk about?
All the action, what everybody really gravitated towards with Dragon Ball Z. It was the first time anybody had seen any powers like that, so they really capitalized on this and made as many ridiculous powers as they could.
Yeah, 100%.
It was cool the first time you watched it, but in hindsight, it definitely hurt. Not only transformations, but all the wacky, ridiculous powers with no real standing behind them as to why. Like the galactic donut. Why did the galactic donut why was it shaped like a donut, and why did it circle around the guy and all that shit? And why is that different than a Kamehameha wave? They never take the time to explain any of that.
Yeah, they make the ghost kamikaze, which was a cool idea in a way. It
was neat, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so now you've made essentially a sentient energy blast.
You made a clone jutsu?
Will you please explain? Yeah, will you please explain this to me a little bit more? And it's just kind of played off as almost just a comedy thing, as these are two kids, and these are the ridiculous powers they'd come up with. And that's another problem. It's like, okay, if all these interesting powers can be made, why ain't the fuck anybody done it before? Why is Gallic Gun and Big Bang Attack and Final Flash all the same attack, Vegeta? They're literally the same
something
thing.
New, damn it.
There's just like a slight variance in how long or wide do they go.
Goku out here using the same move since he was a child.
Literally, he knows 2 moves. Other than that, it's just punching and kicks. He knows fucking the Kamehameha wave and the Spirit Bomb. And the Spirit Bomb ain't even his fucking power. We'll get into the Spirit Bomb in a minute.
I was going to say, I was about to lead to, now we've talked to it, and it happens in a lot of Dragon Ball Z, but we're just bringing up the Spirit Bomb now, because this is the Spirit Bomb that essentially ends the show.
Yeah, I think we're probably...
What are your gripes with the Spirit Bomb?
My gripe with the Spirit Bomb is the overuse of the Spirit Bomb. I like the idea that there's a power that can't be defeated by one person. It definitely goes against kind of the Dragon Ball shit that we've thought. So it's like you need to get powerful and you need to transform and you need to beat him alone. No, the Spirit Bomb is the collective of essentially humanity coming together to defeat the greater good. I would have absolutely loved it at the end of the Buu saga if it hadn't already been beaten into the ground before that.
Yes, it was used in everything.
You had a Spirit Bomb to try to defeat Vegeta. You had
Frieza.
Spirit Bomb for Frieza. Did they try to get one together for Cell?
I don't think there was anyone for Cell, and we don't call the movies canon, but almost every movie with Goku in it used the Spirit Bomb or absorbed the Spirit Bomb. I don't know.
Yeah,
so many things.
And it's always this, we have to fucking get everybody together and make sure, and I don't know, man. It just didn't fucking hit well. Maybe it's because the first 2 didn't work, and they chose to use them anyway as like this doesn't work this time, but at the end in the last one it will finally work.
Yeah, and I mean the one good thing about it, I mean, even though he can be annoying, it was kind of great seeing. In a way, doesn't Hercule save the day in a way because he gets the people
Yes.
to all pitch in, and he saves Vegeta out of the way.
Well,
So
because yeah, I do remember they were King Kai. I'd assume it must have been something like that. Was allowing them to transmit their voices to all of Earth, kind of like a giant sky TV.
yeah, which I didn't know you could do that, but hey,
And that's the thing, is if you want to get nitpicky, there are a billion fucking things in Dragon Ball. There's just no rules to. That can frustrate people. It frustrates me a little bit, but not what I'm talking about. So they had Vegeta, or I think it was Vegeta, who was taking the time, was the one who had to address the fucking people of Earth.
people
And Vegeta,
of the Earth.
yeah, Vegeta's just screaming at him like, "Do you want to die? If you don't want to die, give your energy now."
You think this is a game?
And nobody's doing it. And then Hercule, being a celebrity, he's the one who technically saves the day because everybody on Earth's like, "Oh, Mr. Satan? Well, if he's
Yeah,
telling me
he's
to
the
put my
hero."
arms up, then I'll put my arms up."
Yep.
So that, I mean, it wasn't the worst thing. I just feel like the fact that the spirit bomb had been used too many times beforehand, it made this one feel like, oh, well, here's the trope of they got to finish the final one with the spirit bomb, or they at least got to use the spirit bomb.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great. Yeah, to be honest, the Cell's ending was a lot better. Like that would have been a better. Like even Frieza, but I mean, like the Buu Saga ending, it kind of doesn't end because then it tries to lead into Dragon Ball GT, which is a whole other thing. At the time when this Dragon Ball Z first finished, and now we have Dragon Ball Super, but it was a good ending. It just wasn't the best. I don't know.
It felt like it was what was supposed to happen, which isn't the worst thing, but after 270 episodes of Dragon Ball Z, I guess maybe we're just looking back, and we are being pretty critical about it because we know everything that's happened and we've watched everything and we've been able to sit on it for a while.
And we still love it.
Yeah, oh no, absolutely. I hope we got that across, that there is still love for Dragon Ball Z, but the ending was mildly lackluster because of like we said, because of it being tropey. Dragon Ball, it felt like it was afraid to try new things after a while.
Yeah, and like I said, the power scaling with the mindless amount of transformations, it got to the point. The fusions, I mean, I didn't mind Vegito with the whole Potaro earrings trying it out.
That was something.
But then once they had to get separated by somehow being teleported into Boo's body, it separated them. In Super, they further explain about Potaro earrings, but I'm not even gonna go into that. It's just so many things.
It got very wonky feeling in the Boo saga. It definitely didn't feel grounded in reality at all.
Which, yeah, and that's why I have ups and downs. It's like, I like Super Saiyan 3. I like the power-ups, but then if I like that, then I can't get upset about it. It's like, so I have to hate and love myself at the same time. So.
The Boo saga, the aesthetic, the visuals of the Boo saga were amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The character designs in some of the, I liked Boo's character design. From start to finish, it was pretty cool. Even I really like Kid Buu. I think Kid Buu having that almost prime ape type look to him.
Yeah,
makes
it's
him
just like pure evil. That's
yeah,
all he is.
it makes him feel a little actual scary about it. The aesthetic, the visuals, the addition of Kais and stuff was fine. The Kais looked okay, but when you really start breaking down and try to put together the history of the Dragon Ball Z universe, things get real fucking wonky when it gets to the Buu saga.
Oh, yeah.
Because you realize, you thought King Kai was the top god essentially, and then all of the sudden you're like, oh shit, there are Supreme Kais and Grand Kais and Great
then they
Kais.
end up not being that great.
And apparently they can't do a fucking thing because this normal grounded in reality person, and they tried to fix that with Super, as in okay, no, there are actual gods now. But then you have to step back and go well, then what the fuck were the Kais? And then you have
what
to
are
sit,
their jobs?
Yeah, and then you have to sit and think of there's a god leveling system, and it's just weird. But then there's some Supreme Kais like Zametsu in Super that are just as powerful. It gets a little, I guess, wonky is the word I like to use. It's not
Yeah.
bad. It's not necessarily good. It's just like, I guess, Fooly Cooley, but Fooly Cooley wasn't trying to be a serious battle shonen.
And it's only 6
at
episodes.
all. Yes, it was supposed to be off the wall ridiculous. And this was like, no, you're supposed to take all this off the wall ridiculous shit seriously.
Yeah.
That being said,
What's your final grade for this one? This is the last thing.
I think I'm going to have to go an 8 for this one.
See, I was going to do an 8 when I originally thought of it, but like I said, there's a lot of ups and downs. I give it a 7.5, so I'm going to give it a little less than an 8.
I thought about giving it the same as the Cell Saga, but
Yep.
I do remember, and it's just the feeling. I remember enjoying the Boo Saga.
Yeah,
as
with
in
all
a whole
its flaws, it was like you still enjoyed the shit.
Yeah, there was something about it, and maybe it was the wonkiness or whatever, but it was a very enjoyable part to Dragon Ball Z. It looked nice. The story was fine enough to where you weren't picking it apart while you were watching it. And I do have to say, like, the Gohan, I thought Gohan was way more of a badass in the Cell Saga in memory, but rewatching it, he was very, very lackluster. Ultimate Gohan was way cooler, even though he had maybe an episode or two of coolness, and then he just gets absorbed.
Yeah, and him wearing Goku's like gi.
That was awesome.
Was pretty nice.
That was fucking cool. It really brought everything together. And again, if you would have made Gohan the bad motherfucker, even if you didn't beat Boo right there, but like give him the tools, maybe find a way to like unlock your ultimate potential while using Super Saiyan at the same time.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not trying to write your story for you 30 years later, but that would have been fucking awesome. You would have had like a 10 out of 10.
I'm not saying your story's not good. I'm just saying.
Just saying you should have let me write it. No, closing thoughts real quick before we wrap this bitch up.
Yeah,
I want to give credit to Toriyama, as in the fact that even though things got kind of wonky the longer Dragon Ball Z went, if you look at it from a broad perspective, the fact that Frieza was the strongest, and this is going to power scaling, kind of defending it if you can. So Frieza was the strongest in the galaxy, right?
Yes.
And Cell was the strongest man-made creation.
Yes.
So those two didn't clash, because I always thought, like, well, how can Cell be stronger than Frieza if everybody thought Frieza was the strongest in the galaxy, and that was, like, common knowledge.
Yeah.
But Cell was just, he wasn't known. He was a literal creation. He just became that. And then Boo, they take, and it was, you know, they go from galaxy and Earth to the entire universe. So if you want to, I do give credit to Toriyama as kind of bringing it all full circle, as in, you know, you fought everything on Earth, you fought the strongest thing in the galaxy, the strongest thing that used to be on Earth has created something stronger, and now that you've taken care of that, it's onto the universe. That was fine. I want to give him credit for that, even though it got kind of weird towards the end.
Yeah, and we're always going to thank you for, you know, making Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball and everything that is, because that just forged everything ahead and pretty much
you,
drove
Toriyama,
us.
If you're listening to this, you were a pioneer. Probably not, but anime wouldn't be what it is today. Not even close, especially the anime that we watch. Without Dragon Ball Z paving the way. We mentioned it in the beginning, not only the ideas and the what have become tropes, but were original creations at the time. Not only those, but just like the ability to get fucking anime over to a Western audience and spread it across the world.
Yep.
So Dragon Ball Z, you will forever have a special place in our hearts.
We thank you.
So JD, the series as a whole, what's your rating?
Oh, see, if we go by my Mal list, people are gonna hate me.
No, I think we actually have the same number.
7.
7. Because
and on Mal, it's a fine. You know, it's actually, like I said, I could watch it again one day. I could.
Absolutely,
without
7's not the worst thing in the world. And I do think for people who might want to experience Dragon Ball Z for the first time, I would advise trying out Kai.
Yes.
I've never watched Kai front to back, but I've heard fairly good things. I know it's a little kiddish. They definitely made it for children more so, but you don't have to sit through the same fight for 20 episodes. And when I say the same fight, I mean the same punches.
Yeah.
So that's important. But yeah, when you really step back and look at it, I mean, it's with all its flaws and everything, it definitely brings it down to a 7. Because I know when I rank something on Mal, I don't necessarily just go for feelings, but I also try to look at the structure of the story and think, was it really good?
Yeah, I say it started out with a bang. It started losing me. It just had a lot of filler in the middle, and then at the end it had a pretty decent closure. It had a lot of hype moments, and that's what just rounded it up to a nice 7 for me.
Yeah, we do have to say that, like, even though it got progressively weirder, Dragon Ball Z, from start to finish, was Dragon Ball Z. It didn't change up its entire feeling. It didn't change up its entire aesthetic. It was the same anime from start to finish. And I know that sounds pretty obvious to say, but JD, I hope you, and listeners, I hope you know what I'm trying to get across.
Oh, I got you.
You know like
here.
I Sword Art Online, it really felt like 2 different animes when you got into the fairy arc.
Oh God! And then you're gonna get to Alicization. You're gonna be like, what is this?
Exactly. Dragon Ball Z doesn't do that. As crazy as things might go, it feels like the same shit.
And we can respect that. But
yeah, I got a lot of respect for that.
Either way, wow, what a journey today. This was our second longest one, or maybe
this
our
was
first
a long episode. But I know you did too. Wanted to get it all in one.
Yeah, and so with that being said, man, thank you guys for listening. I mean,
yes,
it means a lot. This is episode number 10 for us, so
double digits, and plenty more episodes to come. So before we let you all go, we hope that you can go find somewhere to review the podcast.
Please,
Apple, iTunes. I know they do it. Anywhere else, please. And the second we get reviews, we will read them.
Yes, we will.
I'm
waiting.
If they're bad,
I check every single week,
Yeah, we check often. Don't see anything, but reviews help podcasts grow. The more 5-star reviews, the higher reviews that a podcast has, the easier it is for people just scrolling through, just searching. The easier it is for them to find us. And I hope that you all, if you're listening, that you like what you hear. I like to think other people would also like what they hear. And, I mean, shit, it's just fun to talk about the same shit. So wouldn't you like to talk about the Anime Brothers to somebody else besides us?
I think so, but that's just me.
I think that'd be cool. So, yeah, if you can find it in your hearts to leave us a review, preferably 5 stars. But, again, honesty's the most important thing. Please do that. Also, join our Discord. Some good people in there, always having a fun conversation, whether it's talking about the ins and outs of anime or just posting some memes back and forth.
We love them.
It's always worth. Yeah, so join our Discord. Link is in the description. Follow us on Twitter, Anime Brothers PC. Follow us on, Instagram, anime_brothers_podcast.
Yep.
Find us anywhere you can. Reach out to us. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you like, you don't like. And even if you just want to have a conversation about anime, hit us up.
No, we're here for you.
We are. We don't do this just to make ourselves happy. We do this to make the people happy, because we know that in these trying times, without the Anime Brothers, there would be riots.
Probably. All right, well, that being said, I'm JD the Simple, and you got my guy over here on my right is Earthworm the Mighty.
Yo, yo, yo.
And we are signing out.
Peace.
Call me when it's time to leave. There's been a quarantine between